If you're just starting out in wedding photography, it can be a little bit daunting with the amount of information you've got to learn. Let's look at it. You've got to learn how to get actual bookings, know your camera equipment, how to work a wedding day. It can be a little bit intimidating. It was for me, at least, when I started about 8 years ago, give or take. But now, 8 years later, if I had an opportunity to actually go back and give myself some advice after shooting, I think it's about 270 odd weddings, this would be my top bits of advice. So stick around. One of the best bits of advice I can give you, and it's more down to your personality, but please be friendly. You don't realise at first how important this is and how many doors this will open for you in the wedding world. I'm not just talking about being friendly with the bride and groom, you should be doing that anyway, but I'm talking about be friendly with other members of staff at the venue. It doesn't matter if it's catering or just the bar staff. All this will feed back into the wedding organiser. Also be friendly to other suppliers, because these people can actually help you get bookings in the long term. If you get onto the recommended list at the venue, or maybe if you pass on some images to other suppliers and just be friendly with them, they can potentially recommend you to other people and you can get bookings this way. It's a brilliant piece of advice, and it's something that I've always tried to do with every single wedding. Obviously, be friendly with the bride and groom. That really goes down very well. Be friendly with the guests too. If a couple come up to you and say, "Can we get a picture please?" Go, "Yeah, of course you can." As long as you're not doing something else at that point in time, take the picture and just say to them, "Look, all these images are going to be passed on to the bride and groom if that's what's included in your package," and just say, "Yeah, these images the bride and groom's going to get," and just ask them for it. Don't charge them any extra money for this, because that couple will remember this, and the likelihood is they're going to potentially get in contact with you and say, "Hey, you did so-and-so's wedding. Do you mind if we talk?" It's a great thing. Just be friendly. This next one kind of seems obvious, but you'll be amazed about people that actually just don't know their gear. It's a very simple thing. We all like gear, we all like tech and buy new lenses and camera bodies, etc, etc, and we always try and push them to see what they can do. Well, one of the best things to also know is what they can't do. So if your camera is limited in, let's say, low light conditions, just know this ahead of schedule. I buy cameras that generally are pretty good in low light conditions because I like to shoot evening pictures. It's just like I do generally. But know your gear inside and out. Know how to get from a single point autofocus to a tracking mode very, very quickly, like in a split second. Know how to shoot from like say a church to going outside in bright sunlight, and you have to know this instantly. So you probably go from a manual mode to an AV mode or aperture control mode, you know, something very, very simple. If you want to shoot auto ISO or you want to shoot manual ISO, just know your camera inside and out. It's so important that you know how to deal with different situations in a heartbeat, basically, because a wedding will go very, very fast, and you've got to be prepared for just about anything on a wedding day. It might rain on a day, it might be beautiful sunshine with harsh shadows coming across people. Just know how to deal with this. Know whether or not you can push those shadows in something like Lightroom, or if you can't push them that hard, know your camera gear. It's a really, really simple thing, but like I say, it's an amazing amount of people that don't know the limitations of their camera. And yeah, just play around at home. Just see what it can do, what it can't do, and be prepared. Leading on with camera gear, this one's kind of obvious, but you'll be amazed at the amount of times I've heard horror stories or seen stories on Facebook about photographers that haven't got basically spare equipment. Simple things like batteries, memory cards. You know, you should have these anyway. They're pretty important, because you'll be amazed the amount of times a battery will go from it's saying it's like, let's say 50% battery power down to 0 because, I don't know, the battery's dying, I guess. But this will happen more often than you actually think. So have some spare batteries. Just leave the spare batteries in your pocket, or if you carry a bag with you, make sure you have spare batteries. Same with memory cards as well. I swear I have heard stories about photographers that have been deleting images off their memory card so they've got enough space on their card to continue shooting the rest of the day because they've only got one card. It's crazy because memory cards don't cost that much anymore. You can buy a 32GB card here in the UK, a SanDisk Extreme, let's say, for about 25 quid. you know, please just buy some spare cards. Also, don't turn up to a wedding with just one camera. It's very irresponsible, because you never ever ever know if that camera is going to fail you at some point. Borrow a camera maybe from somewhere, rent a second camera from somewhere. Please don't just turn up with one single camera. Also, bring spare lenses. I kid you not, at one wedding I had 2 lenses go down on me. I think it was 2, it could have been 3, I can't remember. It was definitely more than 1 lens that went down, and thankfully I've got spare lenses in the bag. I can just reach in and just continue shooting. It's annoying as hell, but at least I can continue shooting the wedding day, so the bride and groom don't lose their pictures. It doesn't ruin their day. It's really annoying, as I say, because when I get home I've got to deal with that issue. So yeah, spare memory cards, spare batteries, spare camera and spare lenses. It's a no-brainer. Please do it, you know, and continue shooting. Be prepared. What I'm talking about is the evening before, do some simple homework. Check the weather report. If it's going to rain the next day, then you know in your mind that pretty much the whole wedding is got to be done inside. If it's going to be nice bright blue skies, don't worry about it. It's absolutely fine. Also, check the traffic reports. Is there roadworks between yourself and the venue? If there is, you might have to plan a slightly different route. It's just knowing ahead of schedule that nothing's going to go wrong, or you basically covering yourself to make sure that nothing does go wrong. Something else you should do before every single wedding, and it's not just exclusive to me, every single wedding photographer that I personally know also does this, and that's just check the timings for everything on the day. What time is the ceremony, with the wedding breakfast, cutting the cake, first dance, etc, etc. Again, it just gives you that little bit of information before the actual wedding, and you can prepare yourself, know exactly what you're doing before the day, then there's no surprises that catch you off guard. Pretty simple. During the wedding, always have it in your mind that something will go wrong eventually. You can have 10 weddings that go absolutely perfect, nothing wrong, they are just the best weddings ever. But no, at some point, something will eventually go wrong. It's just the nature of life. It happens to us all. It doesn't matter if you're the best wedding photographer in the world. Something eventually will go wrong. And you've just got to be prepared for it. You just got to ride it out and just go with the flow, basically. I've had it before that during speeches, I think it was the auntie on the bride side, or was it the groom side? I can't remember. Either way, this lady, she had, I think it was a mini stroke at a wedding. It was, oh my god, and everything just had to stop. The speeches stopped, everything stopped, the music, the atmosphere, just the works. Thankfully the lady was fine in the end, but it was very touch and go whether she had to go off to hospital or not. But regardless, these little things happen. I've had it before where during bridal prep the makeup artist has been held up and she can't make it. You know, maybe she's got caught in traffic or an accident or something. It happens, it really does. During a very recent wedding, the bride and groom had actually paid for a pianist to play. He's got an electric keyboard, etc, etc. Really, really nice guy. I actually know him. He actually covered my own personal wedding. Regardless, something had actually happened to his power adapter, so he couldn't play during the actual wedding breakfast. Obviously the bride was pretty upset about this. She understood it wasn't his fault because he'd left his equipment in the room, and when he went back in there, it was damaged. I don't know if it was kids playing around in the room or one of the members of staff had to move something and they damaged it. Regardless, either way, accidents will happen. So please just be prepared. Just know not everything's going to go to plan and things will happen during the wedding. So my last point, and I want to finish it off on a little bit more of a positive note, and that's just make sure you make the whole experience from shooting a wedding fun and engaging for the bride and groom. If you make beautiful pictures, you want to make sure they have a good experience, because if you make the best picture in the world, or shoot the best picture in the world, or the best picture you've ever done, but you faff around for ages and the bride and groom are getting frustrated, they're like, oh my god, why is this taking so long? Guess what they're going to remember from that picture? They're going to remember the experience leading up to that picture. So more than likely they're never going to use that picture. They're just going to go, yeah, it's a nice picture, but our memories attached to it are just like, well, we didn't enjoy it. So there's no point in shooting that picture. The best way around this is if you're doing, like, say, an evening shot, set your lighting up, bring the bride and groom out for minimum amount of time, 2 or 3 minutes, and then send them back in. They have a good experience, they're not faffing around for ages, you've got everything set, and it makes the day flow a little bit better. as I say, just make sure it's a good experience for the bride and groom. They're more likely to recommend you to friends, family that are potentially getting married as well. So it all helps. So that's my top tips if you're just starting out in wedding photography. There is obviously other tips that people will tell you along the way, but this is just from my personal own experiences. You'll no doubt come up with your own tips as you go. You'll have different experiences to what I have. If you've got some other great tips that you want to say, just listen below, I'll have a look, maybe do a follow-up video, I don't know. Just let me know what you think, and yeah, just hopefully you have a good time shooting weddings and make it really fun for the bride and groom and you get some more bookings.